free agency, for the most part, has calmed down. The waters are still as can be, but there are still valuable players out there to be had. It all depends on not if, but when. What's up? It's your boy Cintron coming back after another analysis video, and I kid you not, that's my real name, and we'll jump into some news as well around the league. But first, let's get to this top 100 available 2023 NFL free agents list. And as you can see, there's some names here that you know. We're not going to cover all 100 names, but we will cover like a plethora of them, ones that are applicable. And, either they have the requisite talent, the name, reputation, or they're young. So we'll look at what we need. So we still could use a boost at linebacker depth. Running back, we're looking for one more player. Safety, we're still looking. We could add a starting caliber player, and in case Reed Blankenship doesn't work out. And receiver, if we could, but I think that's more, O-line, if we could. But I think those are more going to be, more cost effective in the draft. So that's why we haven't added a lot of guys, because it just doesn't make sense, especially like on a short-term deal or a one-year deal. They're veterans, so the price is going to be higher than a rookie coming in, and they've already reached their plateau. So let's look at some guys here, man. Leonard Floyd, 30, still has talent, but he's older, and the price. Jadeveon Clowney, headache, no thank you. Donovan Smith, not in the market for an older tackle. He's 30. Frank Clark could be, but also what's his asking price? He got cut by the Chiefs, but that doesn't still mean he's not going to command a pretty penny. Isaiah Wynn, he's young, but I don't know his talent level. Shaquille Griffin, also on the younger side. It should say Jaguars, because I think that was his last team. But he's coming off an injury, injury prone season, injured. Marcus Peters, older, and potential attitude. Cameron Fleming, 30. Rocky Sin, he's pigeonholed as a cover 2 corner. Maybe it doesn't fit with our scheme. He's a long and lengthy guy, but maybe also tends to get too handsy. Ronald Darby, already been there, done that, and he's older now. Poona Ford would be valuable, but we've already signed a guy on his level, talent level, and younger as well in Kentavious Street. Yannick Ngakoue could be, but he's not really he's just mostly a pure pass rusher. Doesn't really set the edge. I mean, at times he does, but it comes and goes. Ezekiel Elliott, just no thank you. He's all used up. Kareem Hunt, no thank you. As well. We'll get into that a little bit later. Leonard Fournette, could be a battering ram, but pricey. Then he's 28 years old. Could go just younger in the draft, and he's not going to be a starter. We've already got someone with better talent, but injury prone in Rashard Penny. Dalton Risner, could be pricey, being in 28, a little bit older. Teddy Bridgewater, we've already settled on a backup. Adrian Amos, he actually knows the system, but we brought in a guy who's younger, Terrell Edmonds from the Steelers, and he pretty much fills that spot for us. And Adrian, as good as he is, and he's not better than Terrell Edmonds. You're getting somewhere around the same talent level, and he's older. Jarvis Landry, what is he going to command? And he's 30 years old. So 1-year deal. So a lot of these guys, John Johnson. Thought we might have brought him in, but we already brought in a safety. Could if he stays out there longer, because it's pretty much a dead market right now. These are guys either waiting for an injury, or post draft injury in training camp, or like somewhere during in the midst of the season. So they're waiting for their phone line to ring, and their demand to be either they're crazy high, or they're just not like a system fit with teams that could use their services. So you see a lot of guys available here, not too old, like Ashawn Robinson, but he's like one trick pony. And Dwayne Smoot, I don't know too much about him, but I mean there are a plethora of guys here, man. We'll find some other guys, Trey Flowers, nope, burnout. Bud Dupree, too pricey. Yeah, but you see, a lot of guys on this list are old. Yeah. So I mean, it's just you run into like a lot of glut of the guys who are getting up there in years. Their knowledge may be very good, but their bodies are either breaking down or they're close to hitting their cap as far as the player goes. And yeah, just a lot of refuse, a lot of leftovers on the market, man. Some interesting names though. So I mean, it's crazy that we've come to that point where these guys are starting to age out of the system. Robert Quinn, who we just had, is 33 now. We traded a 4th-round pick for him. It really wasn't worth it. Was it worth the risk? Sure, because we thought we might have been getting a potential, not 18.5 sack guy like he was last year, but good for more than a handful, even in that rotation that we had. So, just is what it is, man. But yeah, it kind of is what it is. Darrell Henderson, a good running back on that list, but like I said, we've already got someone in the same talent level. You can't tell me he's not talented, but also his attitude, kind of closing out the season. Some teams might have been scared off by that. An interesting name on the list, Foster Moreau at tight end, but we already have tight ends that are as talented as him or have more potential. And Grant Calcaterra and Jack Stoll, who the sum of their parts are better than Foster Moreau, even though he's young. But yeah, the rest of this list is not also Rams, but it's these guys that are kind of on the borderline of being, a quality starter or just like backups. But it's just gonna, it's gonna be what it is. Here's where I'm really, really interested. It shows you here's the glut of guys that really we could use a boost. Is that linebacker, and post draft, if some of these guys available, you gotta at least bring them in. If you don't get what you want in the draft, because we're very strapped right now, very shackled by only having I think 6 selections, 2 first-rounders, a second, a third, and 2 7s. So I mean that doesn't leave us not really anything in the middle rounds on day 3. We have little to no day 3 picks, which all both of them coming at the end of the draft in round 7. So I mean it's looking atrocious. So we could use both or one of the first round picks to trade down and acquire more picks in the middle selections, and that wouldn't be too hard because top 10 someone's gonna be hard up to trade up for someone that they have their eyes set on, and we should be looking to capitalize. Howie is he's a magician, he's a wizard with salary cap and with trades. He's been fleecing guys for years. Chiefly the Saints last year got an extra 1 from them, and an extra 2. So I mean, and with CJ Gardner Johnson trade, 2 picks, 2 day 3 picks, and he was ours for a season. Yeah, man. He played a big part in that defensive backfield being a turnover, machine. So I mean that greatly impacted us. So I mean here, like I said, there's guys in the draft like Jack Campbell, projected like 2nd rounder, but I don't think we go that high on defense. We just spent 2nd and a 3rd in the past couple seasons on linebacker out of Colorado, and as well as the other linebacker I think want to say out of Mississippi or somewhere. But I mean so it's crazy. Like Sean Bradley, and so I mean Davion Taylor is the other guy out of Colorado, speedy guy for 4.49, but just can't put it together, can't stay healthy, and then he's behind on reps, so his development is stalled. But look here, look at this list. You see 5 linebackers rated in a row. And let's look at the first one, Jalen Smith. He's serviceable. So I think he would give you quality depth at the linebacker position, and he was started last year for the Giants, and he didn't play too bad. You could do far worse having him as a number 2. And it all comes down to the price. He's young enough, and linebackers don't get paid that much. So his Dallas payday days are over. Ben Neiman, I know he's borderline starter quality, younger guy, but like I said, you could bring him in, as a backup. Rashaan Evans, this is what I'm looking at. This is a guy who was drafted in the 1st round, took a couple years off out of Alabama, came back in resurgence. So the talent should still be there, but can he unearth it? Can he tap into that? it's worth a fucking shot, man. I'd love to have him. Quan Alexander, a lighter linebacker, but speedy guy, has recovered from the past couple season injuries. With injuries, but because of that, we should be able to get him at a cheaper rate. And hey, like I said, you can do worse, far worse. And the last one here is Zach Cunningham, talented linebacker from the Tennessee Titans. I think his play slipped a little bit, but still, like I said, if you're asking him, to be your number two, we only have really two starting linebackers. We playing in like a nickel coverage defense for majority, like 70% of the snaps, whatever. Yeah, we rarely field three linebackers, but we have somebody in a pseudo linebacker role as a safety DB. So yeah, man. I mean, all these guys could provide quality depth and some spot starts. Like I would say Rashad Evans and Jalen Smith, even Colin Alexander would be good for those. Maybe a start. But that wraps up this list. We're gonna look at 3 players from this list who were highlighted as guys that make sense for the Eagles. Like I said, we're deep into the waters of free agency now, and yeah, they're not highly rated, but they could, even at this stage, especially at this stage, could be a bargain and could be a huge shot in the arm for teams. And like a lot of those guys on that list are going to provide quality snaps and make those rosters better, even potentially change the game for some of these teams. But they've been devalued right now. That's just the way the league rolls. Either the age or the evaluation of the talent, the maturity level is holding them back, or they're being forecast as afterthoughts. But we're gonna get to it though. O'Shane Jimenez, so coming from a division rival, he balled out in college, 32.5 sacks, and he has a burst. I like that. When he bends the edge, when he's healthy, he can get after the quarterback and put in a good position. Year before, he had a promising rookie year, 4.5 sacks. Was put in a rotational role in 2021, but last year, not really much, man. He was only coming off the bench, only 4 starts, 24 tackles, 2 sacks. But like I said, they're saying here, he fits the theme of the offseason that Howie Roseman is showing here. Lottery ticket, huge reward, but a low risk player. So I mean, why not bring him in? He's young. He's 28, 26. So he could have a season and give us something else beyond Derek Barnett to count on. But I really think we're going to the draft route. That's why we're not going to try and pick him up. But if he's available after the draft and we have a need for him, might snap him up. Another corner here, Artie Burns. So he worked with Seattle this past season, I want to say. And, that means he worked with Sean Desai this past season. And, he had a fair evaluation on I think, one of his seasons in 2021. Or 2016, or I forget, somewhere down the line. But, yeah. I mean, it was a good grade, 85.1. But that being said, it just gives, it gives him an edge having experience with the current D coordinator for the Eagles. But, he's still a young guy, and he's big, fast, a guy out of Miami. Those guys from the U, I mean, yeah, but it's lost his reputation. But that being said, he was drafted in the first round, so he was, deemed to have some, a high level of talent. And, but, we already have some reclamation projects like Greedy Williams on the roster, and he's providing depth. So I don't think he would be better than that. And you don't look for him to displace your guys, just, maybe in case of emergency. But, I think, we should actually go with one of the corners in the draft over this guy, because he's already kind of hit his ceiling. Just praying, hoping for a miracle. Like, for this name here, Kenny Galladay, cut in the offseason by the Giants after signing a 4-year, $72 million deal, $40 million guarantee. So that hurts him, even to this day. And he rewarded them with, getting paid millions per catch. He had a TD on us last year. The one TD he had 6 receptions for 81 yards. 2022 was just abysmal. He wasn't hurt. He was healthy. He just was a healthy scratch from the roster, but just mystifying how they Sign this guy to a huge contract and don't even use him. He just flames out. Just mystifying because he had talent. He showed, that in Detroit. He got back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons. Was hurt his last season, but, you're projecting that this guy was going to come in and be a difference maker for you, but he fell flat. And that's all we're going to look at from this, but we're going to look at a couple things around the league. Odell Beckham Jr. signed with the Ravens, $15 million guaranteed on a 1-year deal, $18 million overall possible. But, it's huge, so they're trying to really say, hey, Lamar, come back. We got some guys for you. But is there going to be enough to assuage him to return, or his mind and heart to return, because he's still physically there, but mentally, he might be already checked out. So we'll see, but, we weren't going to touch him. And the Jets were, he signed with them before he took, the visit with the Jets. They're disappointed by that, but, he's still a talented receiver, only 30. But, he's got to be a little slower, have to deal with the injuries and, leg injuries, saps to, the strength of a receiver. And doesn't enable him to maximize his skills as would have been able to before. But he's still maybe top 20 receiver in the league. So we'll have to see the season what he does with the Ravens, potentially with Lamar Jackson. Number 2 here, just say no to Kareem Hunt, man. He's finally a free agent, and people were clamoring for years, past 2 to 3 years. Trade for Kareem Hunt, get him, acquire him. So glad we didn't, because he's what he is now. He looked slower last season. Had his best season 2020, when I think he was splitting carries, but also maybe I think Nick Chubb had some games he was out. So he started, had 800 yards and 4 TDs, something like that. But high clip rate, but it just running backs past their prime quickly, and he's slowing down. So you're getting an appreciating asset there. No, thank you. And the last one here, Russell Wilson was almost an Eagle. And not talking about when we could have drafted him in the 3rd round when Seattle did. Yeah, we wanted him then. It would have been actually a great pick then. But this past offseason, because, his price was high. I think 2 1s. They fleeced. The Denver Broncos fleeced the Seattle Seahawks. The Seattle Seahawks fleeced the Denver Broncos. Look at the impact he had. They gave him $250 million. And look at all the headaches. Not even counting the off the field ones with Sierra and his, crazy independent woman that, why he went after a single mom. Boy. That's why we look at him as a simp. Anyways, but, Russell, it's just sad, see the way he regressed and was stuck in the mud last year. That offense was atrocious. Hoping they can right the ship. They brought in some pieces to protect him, as well as, securing, some of his weaponry, making sure they didn't leave in the offseason. But, man, this is do or die next season. They brought in Sean Payton, the offensive head coach, to work with him. So, really, he's not gonna have any excuses. Got rid of some of his privileges, the private, office that he had, premium parking space, his entourage, being able to follow him wherever in the building. Those are gone. So it's really down to the wire here. They're stuck kind of with that contract for at least a couple of years, but you're gonna want to get a serious return on your investment. And we will stop there for today. But it's all good, though, because you're not even watching, though. But like I said, it's okay. Because as always, it's fly, Eagles, fly. And let's mother go! Like, comment, share, subscribe. Thanks for watching. Check me out at Cintron, Cintron Anime, Cintron Life, or Cintron Laughs, or other social media.